Hello, everybody. It's time to kick out the jams here as I froze up and doing my Han Solo and Carbonite impersonation. Welcome to Mocktails from the Cantina Live, episode number 72. Hope you guys are not roasting. I know I'm going to be roasting here in Texas on August 8th, 9th, and 10th. I believe those are the dates. We're going to be talking about Rebel Scum Con happening, a weekend from this coming weekend. I want to kick off the show here by doing a cheer and a beer. Brother Rich Brendel is not available to us. You know what? Let's just get to the point. We've lost a lot of people in our lives, and we've lost a lot of people that we've idolized growing up. And, I want to say worshiping in kind of a way, just being such a big part of our lives. We're losing people at the speed of light right now, that it's hard to even grieve in a reasonable amount of time, right? I'm still grieving the death of Ozzy Osbourne, which we are going to be talking about a lot on the first part of this show, but also Ryan Sandberg. I'm going to drink to everybody that is now joined the force. So this is for all you guys. Let's give a quick shout out to Ryan Sandberg. He passed away yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. At least we were informed that way. He passed away from prostate cancer. Cancer was in remission, and it had come back, and it came back with a vengeance. And yes, cancer does suck. I do want to do a little show and tell here with you guys. This is my my Star Wars Topps inspired card that I had him sign at the Cubs convention a couple of years ago. And oddly enough, these cards are so fucking cool. The back's a little generic, but just taken from that old school Topps baseball card design that we grew up with. And I had him sign this. Didn't get a photo with him. Such a nice guy. He was a fan favorite. One of the best second basemen that the Cubs ever had. And he's gone now, just like Ozzy, just like the Hulkster, just like Chuck Mangione, so many people, their fate has been decided. And, it's sad to see Rhino go, such a healthy guy, but he fucking died of cancer. What are you going to do? Hey, I got some good brothers joining me on the show today. I love Black Sabbath. I grew up with Ozzy Osbourne. I do not consider myself the biggest fan, but I consider my two friends joining me on the show today the biggest Black Sabbath fans that I personally know. So it is very fitting that they are joining me at tonight's show to talk about the legacy before we bring in Spencer Jowitz, who is part of the Boonta Eve event and the Boonta Eve Network, and he's part of Rebel Scum Con and all that. And you know what? I hate to do this. I am going to bring on some friends. I said I hate to do this because I see my dog outside the door, and I have to let her in. So I'm going to bring in brothers Ian Basic and Kevin Lyle. Guys, welcome to the show. As always, you guys have been on the show before. Ian, you were the one that had told me about Ozzy passing, and I could not find it more fitting that I heard it from you because I knew you are a big fan, and I was glad I didn't read it on a Facebook post. It's where everything went, right? I mean, it seemed like it was all the Coldplay bullshit, and then it was like all Ozzy 24/7 from there on out when he passed away. So I was glad I heard it from you. Kevin, when I first met you, one of the things that I always remembered was that you told me you were a big Black Sabbath fan. I said, you know what? Oh, yeah. You and I are going to get along just fine.
All right.
That was like, one of the things that I was happy that connected us. Very much like Star Wars music has done the same. I want to start with you, Ian. What was your introduction to Ozzy, and how did you morph into the fan that you had become?
You know what? Had heard Ozzy and some Sabbath stuff, but really didn't get into it till a little bit later. Um, Probably more so college, and Sabbath it's so good. It's so good with Ozzy. Um, there wasn't. I had cousins who had turned me on to some other stuff, and one of my cousins had played some Ozzy solo stuff for me. But I was pretty young at the time, um, and yeah, I had the opportunity to see them with the full band. I'm trying to think. It might have been Ozfest '97. I could be getting the stuff mixed up though. Had the opportunity to see Ozzy solo when Sabbath played Lollapalooza. I'm not sure when it was. Probably around 2010, 11, something like that. Um, I was working the stage, and they were filming something. I don't know if it was a DVD or what, but they they sorry they had their own film crew. So
I got to ask you, Ian. I got to ask you right now. How high are you right now?
no, dude, I'm not at all right now, zero. And as I said that, I totally lost my train of thought, and I'm like, he's gonna think I'm totally blazed out. I'm not. So cool thing was, huge Sabbath fan. I get cut for the night. I can hang around and watch a show. So I went out to front of house by the camera riser, and dude jamming out next to me, like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. But I looked, and it was Guy Fieri was there with his kid, like I think two of his sons. So just hung out.
Okay,
and
I want to connect the dots here too, because I believe when I first started making the second Star Wars documentary with you, I was bragging an awful lot about you. I'm like, yeah, remember when Derek Rose got hurt? That was brother Ian Basic's camera shot. So did you film? Sabbath and Lollapalooza kind of escapes me for a moment. Did you film them there then? Because I think I introduced you to Kevin Lyle, saying, "Hey, this is the man that shot Ozzy Osbourne here."
I did not get to shoot Sabbath because they had brought in their own film.
Oh, so Mock lied. Yeah, he told me that. He told me that you did some filming with Black Sabbath. So I guess Mock's a liar.
I got to hang out, but it was cool. I got to go up on stage and shit while they were setting up, and like, talk to Tony Iommi's guitar tech, and see his road case. He's got pictures of his family in there and stuff. So that was cool.
You were able to take in an intimate experience on their stage.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to shoot it, but I got to hang out and watch the show, which
is it's equally as good. That's equally as good, especially getting on stage and talking to Iommi's guitar tech and all that. Kevin, how many times did you get a chance to see Black Sabbath and or Ozzy solo live?
Oh yeah, I saw Ozzy solo a bunch of times. I saw him with Metallica opening in 1986. I was like 14 years old.
Yeah, that was a big tour. They like launched the career of Metallica.
Cliff Burton was there.
Yeah,
and I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who Metallica was. They just came out and they were like, da, 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 thank you, good night. And we're like, what the hell was that? Like, they were great. We were like, I had never heard anything like that. But yeah, I was an Ozzy fan for mid '80s, and then I didn't find out about Black Sabbath until afterwards, until '87, '88, and when I heard the first Black Sabbath album, because that's not really hitting the charts then. That album came out 2 years before I was born, and but when I first heard it, like I was like 15 or 16, and I was like, that's the greatest album of all time. And to this day, there it is. To this day, it's my favorite album.
Yeah, you know what? I want to get Ian, hold that up again. Hold that up again. I want to get a shot of that. Okay, I want to segue into the next part here, and I'll start it. That is my favorite Sabbath album. I think because it's not the first album that I heard. There's something magical about that first album that is timeless all these years later. It was released on Valentine's Day. No, not Valentine's Day. It was released the day before Valentine's Day, Friday the 13th, 1970 of February, recorded in 1969. The building still exists. People have made pilgrimages to that building, especially with the event that just happened close to 3 weeks ago with the big benefit concert. We'll talk about that in a little bit here, about how much money they raised. It's fucking amazing. It's amazing that what they did from a charity standpoint. But that's my favorite record. I was introduced to Black Sabbath from Headbangers Ball, 1986. They were still showing all the old videos. And the Beat Club was a video. It was kind of like MTV before MTV. And they had a lot of bands from the time on their show, and they did videos for. Paranoid and Iron Man were playing. And as a kid, I knew this was vintage, but I knew this was still relevant. And I knew that everybody that I was listening to in the mid-'80s sounded like this. This was the DNA for everything that came after it, which is fucking fascinating. I mean, they didn't change the music scene. They kind of created one. They created a sound. It wasn't even a scene.
Yeah, they created an entire genre.
They created an entire genre.
A genre that was so big, it has 18 subgenres. And those subgenres are broken down into further genres. I'd like to see fucking Michael Jackson do that.
Exactly. It's just amazing. I think that's why we are going to be celebrating Ozzy forever. And I feel like with what Ozzy had done, it was beyond. And there is actually an Elvis connection, because Black Sabbath had covered Blue Suede Shoes in 1969 and 1970. And
yeah, I think when they were still Earth. Yeah, there's a copy of it. I've heard.
Yeah, when there was, which, by the way, I think Earth is such a cool fucking stoner rock band name.
Real quick, I just got a message from my record store guy. Shout out to Mike at Mile Long Records in Wheaton, Illinois. If you haven't been there and you're in the area, check it out. He sent me a message today. They are releasing I think it's called the Lost Tapes or something like that from Earth on vinyl.
Oh, on vinyl?
Yeah. It was a pre-order. It's going to be released, I think he said October. I could be wrong.
So, Ian, what's your favorite Sabbath record? Do you have
the first record?
The first one.
But I feel like subsequent records too, like some of this has been lost over the years because of how we consume media. Those records are sit down, listen to it from beginning to end. And there's the individual songs, but it's like one giant, I don't know, opera. You know, it's one giant piece of art.
Yeah, especially that first one. That first one, like, it blends from song to song.
It also set the tone of what the band was going to be like. There was nothing like that album when it came out. And there's the old story where Ozzy's father heard the album for the first time. You know, Ozzy came home and played it for his father in the beginning of 1970. He's like, this is our new album. And the father heard it and he's like, you guys are on drugs. You know, this is garbage. This is horrible. And it's arguably one of the greatest metal albums of all time. I think it's the greatest metal album of all time.
So
Painkiller comes close.
Is it fair to say that that's your favorite album?
Yeah, my favorite Sabbath albums are that one, and then my second favorite is Paranoid, which is the next. But the first five are just fantastic. Just there's nothing better than those first five. As a matter of fact, no other band has made an album, in my opinion, better than those first five Sabbath albums. In my opinion, I know other people have crazy opinions, like Elvis was good and stuff like that, but it's Sabbath.
I'll take Sabbath.
Well, you know what?
Sabbath.
I gotta say, I'll even take.
Oh, sorry. I just checked that. It's that record is called The Legendary Lost Tapes, Earth 9/12 release, limited edition.
So September 12th.
Okay. That's definitely one to get. Kevin, I'd actually like to add to that. I was listening to Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die today, and
Right.
those are great fucking albums. You know, I
They
know
are.
they're not. I know they're not as solid as say the first 3 or 4, but you know, for those being like kind of the end of the era, you know, and then I can't believe Ozzy got kicked out of his own fucking band that he was, you know, but I feel like those 2 records at the end of his career, for a minute anyway, that eventually kickstarted his solo career. Those are some great fucking albums too, you know. I feel like
I think they're good albums, but they totally are departures from regular Sabbath. They're a little different.
Yes. Hands down.
But I still like the albums. Both Metallica and Guns N' Roses twice played songs from those albums. They played Johnny Blade. They played It's All Right. They played a couple other songs from those last 2 albums. I think every album got hit in that concert that was 2 weeks ago when Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and all those other bands came together. I think every album was hit.
Let's talk about this. This was a benefit concert that was essentially a day-long festival of everybody celebrating the music of Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, for that matter. Even the solo stuff was played. How much they raised a shit ton of money? Wasn't this one of the biggest benefit concerts ever?
They raised $190 million for charity, which is more than what Live Aid raised. However, that's in 1985 dollars, so you got to think that they made a lot more money than $190 million if you adjusted for inflation. But that's still pretty good for Black Sabbath, for a band that doesn't have very many #1 singles, but they got they raised that much money. I mean, $190 million. That's unbelievable, unheard of.
Which Black Sabbath performed at Live Aid too in 1985.
Black Sabbath did perform at Live Aid. That's why Black Sabbath did so well. I like to say all the best bands in the world in 1985 came together to open up for Black Sabbath. That's how I always thought it.
Yeah, I feel like when you have that many cool bands willing to come together for a cause, especially what we just saw 3 weeks ago, and what we saw in 1985 for Live Aid, you know, these things don't happen on this level very, very often. It's almost like a once in a lifetime thing. So the fact that they had raised that much money, here's the thing. That was Ozzy's last performance. And he said, we're going to do one more show. He dies. It's kind of storybook. He dies, a handful of days later.
It's unbelievable. 17 days later. It's unbelievable.
17 days later. But he also goes out. Look, Black Sabbath, to me, they're hippie metal. And what I mean by that is the hippie movement, they were very, very much into the anti-war, the peace and love. Let's clean up the fucking environment. There's a lot of lyrics that Ozzy wrote that fit that regime, if you will, if I'm using that word properly. But it was one of those things where it's like, here he is, still doing something good, giving back to the community, to the people of the world, of the fucking world, not just the community. This is a big, big event, So I feel like when we were growing up in the 80s, there was no internet. There was a lot of folklore with the man here about, eating chickens, biting heads off bats. So some of this got like really blown up because it was word of mouth. It was kind of like, okay, let me sit in a room with 30 people. I'm going to whisper in somebody's ear. We're going to go around the circle and it's going to change, obviously, And I feel like he is the most underrated man on the planet when it comes to music being criticized for the darkness side of things when he was doing really, really, really good things. I think you guys obviously know that he was a good person. the media has changed a little bit, and metal is more popular now, I believe, than it was even back then. He's
to be honest, I'm surprised at how big it was, at how the attention he's gotten from this. I mean, this is the level that Michael Jackson got, and it probably surpasses what Elvis got. But Elvis died in a time long before the internet and 97 news channels. There was only 3 channels when Elvis died. It's a different time. But
Sure.
I can't believe Ozzy he's everywhere. It's all over social media. It's even CNN, all the major news groups covered it. And I always figured, because the heavy metal was kind of always on the outside. But like you said, it's probably more popular now than it was in the 80s.
Yeah, because I think people like us, we grew up and we kind of carried that torch that they had, that they had left to us in our youth, if that makes any sense. And
that concert sold out in 8 minutes. And it's only because the computer system it took 8 minutes to process it all. But I guarantee you that everybody was online already. It essentially sold out in a second. Everyone started queuing in those lines in the first second, and it took 8 minutes to process all that information. But that's a big deal. I wanted to go, but I just figured Ozzy's canceled on me 3 or 4 times in the past. In the 40 years that I've been seeing him, he's canceled a lot. And I figured he's in worse shape now than he's ever been. And if I go all the way out to England and spend $2 or $3 grand and he cancels, I'm going to be very, very upset. Especially it was on the 4th of July. I'd have to leave on the 4th of July to go to the thing. And I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't go now. But
well, the nice thing is, the nice thing is that they have all this footage on YouTube. And Kevin, I gotta give you a shout out, even though you're on the show. I gotta give you a special shout out. It is your birthday tomorrow.
It is my birthday tomorrow. Ozzy's funeral is on my birthday.
No, is it?
Thank you.
Happy birthday, man. So Ozzy's funeral tomorrow. It's a big deal. It's a big fucking deal. I mean, the whole town, Birmingham city town. They're celebrating it. There's like they're gonna
have a cortege, which is I don't know if it's a horse-drawn carriage or what, but they're gonna have the casket brought by the Black Sabbath bridge in Birmingham, which is right in the middle of the city, and it's not too far from the Crown, which is where they first played. I saw Black Sabbath in Birmingham in '97 when they got back for their first concert in 20 years.
Oh, you saw them there?
Yeah, I just moved from Korea to Germany. And my friend Chris Balafis was also moved from Korea to Germany, but he was like a month ahead of me. And so when I arrived in Germany and got on our little base in outside of Frankfurt, I had my bags and whatever. He comes right out to me. He's like, "Hey, we're going to Birmingham, England in December." And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because Black Sabbath's playing." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "With Ozzy, with Bill, with Tony, with Terry, with Geezer," and we're like, "Oh my god!" And then I the first time I ever went to England. What was to go to a Black Sabbath concert, and it was in Birmingham. It was about 2 or 3 miles away from the Villa Park.
Wow, that's amazing! You saw them in Birmingham. I mean, you can't.
It was their first full concert in 20 years, and they played all the good stuff. They played the top 15 Black Sabbath songs. They played Electric Funeral. They played Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, because usually a lot of these songs have to be put to the side because they got some new song, like from Tactical Ecstasy or Never Say Die. None of those songs were played. No offense to those albums, but it was the first 5 albums. It was the best concert I ever saw until I saw Black Sabbath in Stuttgart because I had front row tickets. So that was my best one. But anyway, so they're having the funeral tomorrow, or a procession past the bridge, and it starts for your viewers. It starts at 8 a.m. New York time, so that'll be 7 a.m. for you guys in whatever that little city you live in is. And then it should be pretty cool. I'm gonna get up and watch tomorrow. So that's how I'm gonna start my birthday tomorrow, by watching.
So where can people watch the funeral procession?
If you Google Black Sabbath bridge, because the Black Sabbath has a bridge named after themselves.
Yes, I did see a photo of that today. Yes, it's
got a bench and everything, and they have a live view cam. You can watch it right now live. They've got flowers all over the place. I mean, thousands of flowers brought by people, and then you can go to that website and view it. I probably should have looked it up, but maybe I can send it to you afterwards.
Yeah. So, and for those of you watching this live, you can obviously obviously, I was going to say Ozzy, Google that, but obviously, go Google that. Do you guys have a favorite Ozzy story that you've heard over the years? There's been so many Ozzy stories, especially that have come out now, that have surfaced. Ozzy's Boneyard on XM. They've been really cranking out some beautiful tributes, just like some, really cool, crazy stories from the years.
I'll say one that stuck out because it was just this week I found out. For years, Chris, as you may know, my undergrad was in history, and I was in the Army, so I kind of have a patriotic respect for American history, and we've all heard the story of Ozzy pissing on the Alamo when he was drunk one night, and he escaped the hotel room. He wasn't supposed to go out. His wife was there, but she went to sleep. He jumped out and went out, got drunk, and he pissed on the Alamo. And I just can't forgive that one, even though he's apologized for it and says, "Look, I was on drugs and I was in a bad way in the '80s." This is, he's probably in his 30s when he did this, which is no excuse, but whatever. And he shouldn't have done it. And I always kind of didn't like that story. But it turns out that there's a monument across the street from the Alamo, and he pissed on that, not the actual Alamo. So that made me feel a little better. I felt a little bit. The actual Alamo he didn't piss on. So I thought I'd throw that out there. I think more people should know that story, that he in fact did not piss on the Alamo. There's this stone structure in the middle of the street, literally in the middle of a street, and he pissed on that, which is still wrong, but at least it's not the sacred Alamo.
Right. What's funny? That's a prime example of like the whole bat thing. When I heard that story, I didn't hear the details. He had to get rushed to the hospital. He had to get fucking rabies shots. Of course, some knuckle, and he kind of criticized his fans in the early 80s, like going, "There's some really fucking wacky people here doing some wacky shit." And somebody threw the live band on stage.
Okay, that's a valid criticism, Chris. That's a valid criticism. You don't throw dead fucking animals on a stage, especially in front of Ozzy Osbourne. But in front of anybody, whether it's Judy Garland or Frank Sinatra, you don't throw dead fucking poultry on the stage. You don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's more of a criticism towards his fans and to the exit.
If you saw a dead bat in your kitchen, or if I threw one at you at Dallas next week, you would assume automatic. Oh, it's a toy. It's a rubber bat. Because right? We've all seen rubber bats. Especially, I don't see them as much. Remember back in the 80s, that was a big Halloween thing to have rubber bats everywhere. You don't really see them now. But
the funny thing is that I'm listening to all these Ozzy tributes. My daughter absolutely loves bats. Loves bats. I can't tell her that story because I don't want her to look at Ozzy some crazy fucking way that some crazy people, I want to say conservative adults that were on the strong religious side in the 80s. I remember a good friend of ours, Nick Frasco, his mom was a Catholic nut. She hated Ozzy Osbourne. But what did my friend do? He brought home the Ozzy records, him and his older brother. He's like, we're going to play, all these Ozzy records. We don't care what you say, Mom. And I can't share that story with my daughter because I don't want Ozzy to be this evil guy in her mind, But anyways, Ian, favorite story that you have of Ozzy Osbourne that you've heard over the years?
I don't really have a favorite story. I just remember like going back to the animal stuff like that. I don't know. I was maybe 5th or 6th grade, and I was in the car with my mom and another kid who was in a band we were in together. And we were at practice and coming back, and he said, I remember him telling a story like, "Oh, I know this kid who knew this kid who went to see Ozzy, and man, that's just bad. People were throwing puppy dogs on stage, and they were breaking the dog's necks." And I just remember being like horrified by hearing that. Like, how could somebody do that? And then finding out years later, like none of that stuff was true. Stuff, people throwing a bat up there and him inadvertently,
Again, the day before the internet.
Yep. Yes.
We should all. I think we're all, as Sabbath and Ozzy fans, we should be happy that he lived as long as he did. I mean, Jimi Hendrix,
yes,
Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Amy Winehouse. None of those people consumed as much alcohol and drugs as Ozzy Osbourne. None of them. None of them.
It's fitting that you bring that up because Brother Brad Riverdale had said that Ozzy.
What? Who? Brother what?
Brad Riverdale.
Brad Riverdale.
Yeah, he's a really good friend of mine, drummer in Rishi Mays. He's a huge Black Sabbath fan. I should have had him on the show tonight, but I didn't want to oversaturate it. He had said that he thought Ozzy should have been part of the 27 Club, and he sent me this page in Ozzy's book today. I believe it was Ozzy's book. And Ozzy said, you know what? He goes, anything, later on in life, if I live, he goes, it's going to be a bonus for me because he should have died. Ozzy himself said he should have died a long time ago. And you're absolutely right. The fact that he lived as long as he did. I mean, Ryan Sandberg died before Ozzy Osbourne. Who would have fucking seen that coming? I mean, it's crazy. I mean,
Ozzy Osbourne outlived Gene. What's his name? Richard Simmons. Remember that diet exercise guy? Eat healthy, exercise, and all that. Ozzy outlived him. Yeah. They were born the same year, and Richard Simmons died a year ago.
It's I mean, look, death is going to take all of us. When I heard Ozzy died from me, and I was sad, but I knew it was happening. I mean, Ozzy was like, look, this is my last performance. He was very, very clear about that. I got kind of burned because I saw Ozzy in '91 on his solo tour, and it was, the final tour is,
no more tours. It was right after the No More Tears tour.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, and then he came back again and again, and then he reunited with Black Sabbath, and it was like, okay, all right. So the whole retirement thing's kind of bullshit to begin with.
Well, he didn't lie this time. He said, "This is my last song ever." He sang "Paranoid." I never saw that guy again. And he did exactly. I kind of, Glenn Nelson, a good buddy of both of ours. He sent me a nice text. He's like, if you want to talk, because he knows I'm a big Black Sabbath fan. He knows I've been a big Ozzy fan. I've been trying to get him to go to shows for years, and Glenn always says no because he's a puss. But anyway, he
and now he's regretting it.
Right. I'm sure he is. But the thing is that I said to him, I said, I mean, Ozzy lived a pretty good life. He's 76 years old. It's not ancient or anything like that, but for his background and what he had done to himself, the fact he lived that long, that's pretty surprising. And he said he will never feel like his career is over until he can play with Bill, Tony, and Geezer again in Birmingham one last time. And he wanted to do that. And he said all through COVID and after the accident where he hurt his neck and the Parkinson's diagnosis that he still wants to do it one last time. And he did that. And then to die, 400 hours later, I mean, that's just like unbelievable. I don't know what the math is because I'm drinking, but, it's 17 days later, whatever it was. It's incredible that he did just that. It was almost, I definitely think there's going to be a movie about it and that later part of his career and how he almost predicted that. And it's just, so I celebrate more than I mourn him, but I do miss him.
Yeah, amen to that. It's like we're celebrating him. Now, I have not listened to, last week I've listened to more Black Sabbath than I have my entire life because it's been on non-fucking stop. I've been binging.
Ozzy's Boneyard was what, 6 days straight, nothing but Ozzy.
And it should be.
Ozzy and Sabbath, nothing else.
When I heard them change a little bit, I'm like, come on, man, it's got to be like the whole at least the whole month. Maybe not the rest of the year. Yeah,
they went back yesterday, and people were complaining. They're like, dude, come on, you couldn't wait a week? I think they should have waited to the funeral, but whatever.
I agree with that. Hey, we got one more Ozzy thought here, and this is an important one because, Ian, you've been in the business for a long time. We did this little reality show called The Real Fans of the Saga that was inspired by what Bravo had started with all this reality TV, but the Osbournes dropped their reality show well before Bravo was even a thing. I want to say 2002, this show launched. So not only did Ozzy create a whole genre of music, but he fucking paved the way with his family, which I think is brilliant, for reality television. I mean, this was ahead of its time, and I don't believe it gets enough credit that it deserves because this right here is a pioneer in reality TV. Ian, is that a fair statement? I feel like it's hard to argue that.
I think so. Obviously, MTV was doing some stuff before that, but that as a family, I mean, that paved the way for numerous other shows. Gene Simmons.
It paved the way for the fucking Kardashians, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, everything, not just musicians.
And what was it? It was like the highest rated cable show in 2002 or something like that.
It had to have been.
So much so that Ozzy Osbourne and his wife went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and that's like for senators and judges and obviously leaders in the in news media.
And I got to tell you guys, for those of you, I just saw this on WGN Morning News. Go to YouTube, type in Ozzy Correspondents' Dinner. George Bush is doing the introduction, and I got to give a shout out to Sharon, just because she really not only helped him with his career, but saved his fucking life.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, she saved his life.
You know,
she's the best thing that ever happened to him, bar none. She is better than Black Sabbath as far as him, because he would have done is he would have just drank and drugged himself to death after being dropped by Black Sabbath in 1979. And
especially after Randy Rhoads died, I think he was in a very, very bad state.
Well, no, if it wasn't for Sharon, Randy would probably still be alive because he wouldn't have played with Ozzy. So Ozzy was in no shape to start a band by himself. He needed someone like Sharon to put his life together to manage it. And I don't mean to blame. I'm not blaming Sharon for what happened to Randy, but I don't think Ozzy and Randy would have ever met had it not been for. That's a great album right there.
I mean, who did not have that fucking I had that T-shirt, and when I was in the 6th grade, I wore that T-shirt out. It became so thin that it fell apart.
I had the album. I never had the T-shirt.
You know, yeah, great album, great legacy. But anyways, Brother Ian, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Thank you for sharing some cool Black Sabbath stories and just your love for Ozzy on the show, man. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next time, as we always do. Without further ado, I would love to bring on a good friend of mine, Spencer Jowitz. Spencer, welcome to the show here.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Hey, Spencer.
Hey, Kevin.
What's up, neighbor?
Long time no see.
Yeah. Spencer and I are both from New England, so we see each other at a lot of events over the years.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen Spencer a lot over the years, and I don't even live by you guys.
No. We have all seen Spencer like over the last 2 years. He is fucking. Excuse me, he is everywhere. I gotta go to the Spencer school. Well, first of all, I gotta ask: is it Jowitz or Jowitz?
It's Jowitz, but if you want to go like the old world Yiddish, it'll be Jowitz.
Yes, I always pronounce it Jowitz, but I don't.
It's Jowitz, yeah.
But anyway. Whatever it is, it's everywhere. He's a very good marketing guy, and it's just every time I see him, it's there he is.
Well, you know what? All three of us we roll and smoke that same exact promo thing. You know, it's like we're always doing our thing. We're always trying to help each other out. We're always trying to get the word out about some great events. We have a really, really great event, as we always do. The Buddha Eve is coming to Texas, Rebel Scum Con.
Yes.
Hey, can I do a pinky promise, Kevin? You and we're singing War Pigs.
If you take the lead, I'm not much of a singer. If you want, I'll read from Shakespeare or do any voice talking or whatever. But I'm not. I can't sing, man. This voice doesn't sing. And matter of fact, Chris, neither does yours. But I'm just saying. I can't sing. But if you want, I'll do backup or something like that.
You know, it's funny. We just said goodbye to Brother Ian Basic, and the funny thing is that we were filming the Walking Dead documentary out in Pittsburgh, and we did karaoke. We sang War Pigs. This motherfucker insisted that I get on his shoulders like Randy Rhoads did on Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I am going to die tonight singing War Pigs. And sure enough, I did it, and here I am all these years later. Spencer, do we have some Ozzy song selections that are going to be part of the Buddha Eve?
So what's great about this live band karaoke is that
it's live band karaoke.
Live band.
So it's live band karaoke. However, the band leader did tell me if the band does not know the song, they'll have traditional karaoke available. So you'll have the catalog available. Even if the band doesn't know the song, you can still do whatever song you want to do.
See, my man Spencer is on it. My man Spencer is on it. That's pretty cool. I didn't know it was live karaoke. I've never heard of that.
So our first event that we did back in 2017, which is actually how I met Kevin, because I had a pin made for our event, was at Rising Star Karaoke in Universal as part of Celebration 17.
Was that the Droopy McCool thing we did?
You did Max Rebo for us our first year.
And then I did Droopy McCool the next year.
And then you did Cy Soodles for our third one that we did the Java Band.
I never did Droopy McCool?
You did Droopy McCool.
Okay, so I did 3 of them.
You did 3 of them for us, and we did a Java Band with you. So live band karaoke is in our blood, and that's also where I met our good friend the Vandalorian, because the first time I ever saw or met Sean was him at our event in full gear performing Panama with the live band karaoke in 17. So
cool.
This is our first event that we've had live bands since 2017, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, super cool. I'm excited about this. And you said our friend Steven Constantino, if I'm saying that right. If I'm not saying that right, Kevin, correct me, please. Steven is going to jam with the live band karaoke too, correct? We let them know that Steven's going to be there. We have a bunch of other musicians / singers involved in the greater Star Wars universe that are going to be there that might be jumping on for various things throughout the night. One thing that's fantastic about this event in particular is we have our own guests for the evening. However, all the guests from the convention itself are invited to our event. So you can have anybody from the con jumping on stage to perform as well. So that leaves an opportunity for anybody in Star Wars to jump on and sing a song.
And I can guarantee you that the middle guy in that picture, Warren Pillow, he's going to get up on that stage and sing.
Warren actually flat out said to me he's got 3 songs lined up right now.
I was in New Hampshire with him one time, and he made me stop at 4 different places till he found one that played karaoke. And he went up there, and he sang some crazy song I'd never heard. He did a really good job, and the audience was really into it.
Warren plans to sing Anna Graves, who's Duchess Satine. She asked if she can do some karaoke. So we'll definitely have a bunch of our actors going there, but we're really excited to be part of this event. This is our second foray, if you will, into attaching ourselves to a con that's not Celebration. Last year we did ICC Con in Nashville. We had a nice, we had a good turnout over there, but this is going to be next level. Like the guys at Rebel Scum have really rolled out the red carpet for the Virtual Cantina Network, and we couldn't be happier partnering with them on this entire weekend of events. But it's gonna be absolutely great. I mean, I think tickets are still available for Rebel Scum Conventions with an S.com. Also, Boonta Eve tickets are selling out. We are very close to a sellout. We're a 500 capacity location for our event in Texas. And we're going to have the karaoke. We're going to have 2 massive sabacc tables in a private room provided by Hyperspace Props, who actually ran the sabacc at our event in Japan, which Kevin was at.
Yeah. Was that sabacc for charity? Was that part of that group?
Same people who are involved with Sabacc for Charity. They're one of like 5 groups that represent Sabacc for Charity. But one of our sponsors that we have worked with for the last couple of years, Hyperspace Props, is going to be doing Sabacc, not only just a con with Sabacc for Charity, but they're going to have their own room available at Boonta Eve doing Sabacc. And then, like I mentioned, 12 other Star Wars personalities that are not part of con are going to be doing meet and greets throughout the night at this event.
Cool.
So, are you, Spencer? I've been to the Boonta Eve before. Do you partake in singing yourself?
I will absolutely be partaking in the singing of this event.
Do you have a go-to song? You have a go-to song?
I have a whole bunch of stuff. Like I love Queen.
Of course you do.
I'll do Fat Bottom Girls. That's one of my go-to. I also love Living Color, so I'll do some Cult of Personality. With live band character, that's pretty awesome.
I don't think he's going to be doing any Slayer though, Chris. So he might not be what we like. but it'd be great if he could drop Rain and Blood. That'd be awesome. That'd be watching Spencer. I will definitely buy a ticket for the Punta Eve. I'll buy 10 of them if I could get him singing South of Heaven. I will totally buy 10 of them.
All right, well, Kevin, if the live band karaoke if the live band knows how to play that, you and I are doing a duet, brother.
No, but we're like I said, we're very, very, very excited about being part of this event. It's something that's different from what we do because obviously we're pretty much known as running the pre-event for Celebration. And ever since last year, we started doing our own events outside, whether it be with we did ICC Con last year, and we did our own family vacation with 3 Boonta Eves in a week, different guests up and down the California seaboard. One in Los Angeles, one in Anaheim, and one in San Francisco, all within a 3-day span, which was a lot of fun. So this is something that's different. It's expanding our brand, but obviously we're always going to be known as the group that does the kickoff for Celebration. I mean, we realized this halfway through Japan. We sold out 3 continents already. We sold out, obviously, doing our events in the United States. London sold out in a day and a half. Our event in Japan sold out in 4 minutes on New Year's Day this year.
And you said this
and tell them about the standby line. There was like 100 deep.
We had 100 people stand by to get into our location because you couldn't get tickets. We sold out before we even announced one name was signing for us at both events, London and Japan. But Japan had a line 100 people deep to a point where that it was getting close to our end time. And I had talked to the manager and said, can I get at least 1 more hour to get everybody in to sign? And we got everybody in.
Wow, that's crazy.
Great.
So
that's a good problem to have.
It was, I mean,
how'd you like that celebration overall? That was a pretty fun. Japan was fun.
It was a fun celebration. It's not my favorite by any means. It's my favorite location that we've been in the last couple celebrations.
I'm going to interrupt you guys right there talking about Celebration Japan because we need to talk about Rebel Scum Con.
We'll talk about Rebel Scum Con, but the fact
I'll say this about Rebel Scum Con. Rebel Scum Con is going to be better than Celebration Japan. I guarantee it. I've been more excited for that show than I was for Japan. Japan was just I had to go because it's Celebration. You got to go. Rebel Scum Con. Even if I wasn't working there. And even if I didn't have a booth there, which I do, and I'm hosting panels, I've got 6 panels and a booth, I would still just go there because they got Lauren Peterson. That's enough to get on a freaking plane right there. Lauren Peterson.
Honestly, if you're a Star Wars fan and whether you went to Japan or not, if you're looking for the pure Star Wars show of the year on the continental United States, Rebel Scum Con is the show to go to. Easily. And like Kevin said,
hands down.
I said this to Kentucky and to Josh and to Bobby, and Kevin just hit on this. When you're putting together a show in any kind of capacity, you can be a regional show, and you can be a great regional show. There's plenty of great regional shows out there. But if someone is going to invest in a hotel, if someone's going to invest in a flight, if anybody's going to invest in travel expenses, you need a reason to do that. Right now, and Kevin knows as well, there's 2 massive shows in New England the same weekend as Rebel Scum Con, and both Kevin and I are going to Texas.
That's what a great way to mention it. So those 2 shows are shows that I go to and I do very well at. I'm not going to them. I'm going to Dallas.
And one of them is being headlined by Ewan, Hayden, and Tamora. Fan Expo Boston.
But I bet you that's where the Star Wars lineup might end. I mean, the lineup at Rebel Scum Con between your event and the convention event, which you say you have exclusive guests at your event that the con doesn't have. I mean, this is like an old school Philip Wise Rebel Scum Con. Philip Wise always used to bring the guests in to Celebration. Always. And they just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is very reminiscent of, I would say, he's still with us, but he doesn't own the company anymore. This is like the ghost of Philip Wise here. I mean, this is a grand fucking lineup that is stacked from top to bottom from, people that were on screen for a second to some, A+ listers here. And not to take away anything what happens in Nashville, because I love ICC Con, and I think these two conventions are two of the same. I still can't wrap my head around it, why people are getting excited for Celebration that's 2 years from now, and they're like, I can't wait. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for Celebration, because we have something happening here on August 8th, 9th, and 10th, and we had something happen in May in Nashville. It's like, come on,
You can't compare Celebration to anything. Celebration is its own egg that you can't even compare. New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, Emerald City. You can't compare Celebration to anything else out there. I always tell our members, if you prep for Celebration, every other con is easy. Honestly, autograph-wise, everything. If you prep for Celebration, every other show is easy. Shows that are like ICC Con, Mike does a fantastic job. Rebel Scum Con, they are its own egg, and I don't think that they are the same. They both have their own niches and their own driving forces. Mike is very much a collector's con, very much. And Mike is it's in the name, collectors. And Mike will flat out go and say it's a collector's show. That is diehard collectors of vintage figures, and people he would love to get their childhood toys signed. Rebel Scum Con is a completely different egg. This is like you were talking about the Philip. It's more along the lines of where Celebration could and should be, in all honesty. It's the guys, Josh Kentucky and Bobby, are fantastic guys, and they truly care about the fandom. And they want to give everybody an opportunity to get those hard-to-get actors or crewmen. I mean, there's going to be one panel, talking about panels that they already announced with Lorne, with Howie Weed, with Fawn Davis, with C. Andrew Nelson. That's going to be
hosting.
Yeah, I'll be hosting. Was that obvious? I was boring myself.
But the thing is that, we talked about this. Lorne has rarely done any shows. And according to a good friend of Kevin and mine, Dominic, who's Lorne's agent, he's only going to do one show a year. And next year's not going to be in the United States. So this is your opportunity. If you've been trying to get Lorne in the last 5 years has really only done private signings. So this is
let's be honest too. We just talked about Ozzy Osbourne. Lorne Peterson is not getting any younger, folks. So this is the time. The time is now.
Absolutely. Anybody who's involved in the original trilogy, I would say get now, because we learned that in 2017, within 6 months before Celebration, we lost Kenny and Carrie.
They both were at London in 2016, and they died.
Correct.
Kenny died like 3 weeks later.
So right now, the OT, unfortunately, God rest the people who are who have passed souls. Unfortunately, the OT is not going to be around much longer. So if you have an opportunity to see anybody who's involved in an original trilogy, behind the scenes or actors, go get them now, because the fact of the matter is that you're going to be kicking yourself later on that you didn't get that opportunity. These opportunities, like, for example, to me, someone like a Lorne is huge. It is huge for the fandom. And when you have somebody who is an influencer in the Star Wars community, like Carly King, who absolutely is a diehard Lorne Peterson fan, and she's like, I have to be in Texas because Lorne Peterson is doing a show, like, that's getting buzz around the fandom, because of Lorne. But you also not just Lorne you got there. You got, obviously Kyler Solar, who is one of the breakouts from Andor. His first U.S. show is next week. Like, that's huge if you were into Andor, especially in season 2. But
whatever you do, don't sleep on Roger Christian either, because he's getting up there, and he's
But the thing is that yes, but Roger has done quite a bit on the circuit in this past year, and is going to continue to do so. So Roger's going to be out there as long as Roger's able to go. I'm saying is that with Lorne, he's only doing one show a year. So this is Lorne's 2025 stop. But But overall, like I said, this is a whole weekend full of stuff. We're talking about, you got 3 days of incredible panels, great autograph sessions, great swag trading, incredible vendors like our good friends at the Norse Legion.
Thank you.
It's pronounced Jawitz on the check. Also, we have Bunta first night, which would be incredible with, all that stuff and specialty drinks throughout the entire night. And then the next night they're having the after hours event over at Dave and Buster's across the street from the con. And then just hang out. It's going to be absolutely an incredible weekend.
Is that your event, the Dave and Buster's? Is that one of your events? No, or is that the show?
That's theirs. So we're going to have we'll have a fan table just like we did in Nashville last year. We're doing that. I'm actually being brought in as their Instagram correspondent. So I'm going to be working for the con, running their Instagram account during con hours.
Okay.
But I have my crew from the VCN actually going there as well and filming throughout the weekend content for our network. So we worked out this whole deal with Rebel Scum this year that the VCN is going to be one of the people that's going to be pushing them greatly this year, to the point where we're already talking about future endeavors that we are working on in the next 2 to 3 years. We're already looking past Celebration about what Rebel Scum and the VCN can do. So
Fantastic.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. It's exciting for the fans,
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be a great show. I'm really looking forward to it. And Chris, I was trying to get you to go for the past 6 months. Like, you got to go to the show. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to love it.
So, Kevin, I got to thank you for kind of introducing me really to Kentucky and just
it's just Kentucky. His name is not Kenneth Ucky. It's just Kentucky.
Just Kentucky. Well, I've seen his name spaced. How about just Ken?
He spaces it on Facebook because otherwise it's not a real name, and Facebook doesn't like.
I just call him Tucky and call it a day. So
I do actually call him Kenneth Ucky, and when at the show, if I'm on the stage, I'm like, "Oh, Kenneth Ucky's here." I do that all the time but he's a great guy. I fucking love that dude. I went out with him in Nashville at ICCC. We went down to Broadway and we drank till like 3 a.m. And then he got a gigantic box of White Castle burgers. And it was fantastic. And he was driving, so I could drink as much as I want. And
I hung out with him a lot in Japan. Like I sat at panels with him, and he was at our event in Japan.
It was just your event, yeah.
Yeah, which we were already signed to Rebel Scum before we went to Japan. Like we had our whole lineup, contract was signed with them. So the whole time when you couldn't walk in that room, in that entire building, Kevin can attest to that. Kentucky is smiling because he knows that energy that we're bringing is going to go to his event. And that's what we want to do. We want to be able to replicate what we do around the world for other cons, not just Celebration.
And back to Josh in Kentucky, too. Those two guys and Bobby, those are some hard-hitting Star Wars fans. And for me to say that in front of you two, who are also pretty big Star Wars fans, those guys are like, I have to I get pretty impressed by them. And I'm not impressed by Star Wars fans because I'm such an enormous Star Wars fan, as you can see from my office, as I'm drinking from a $120 Obi-Wan Kenobi mug. But those guys are they're hardcore. Don't worry, I have another one at home. The one is in better condition. I have it. I have it in the living room. This is the cheaper one. But anyway,
I think what you said there, that statement is a testament to this is a very much like Michael Havens does. It is a convention run by fans for fans. So get your tickets at rebelscumconventions.com. Definitely get your tickets for the Bunta Eve because that fucker's going to sell out. So don't make a mistake. One question for you, Spencer. Do you ever see tickets? What happens when somebody can't get a ticket? That happened to me at a Celebration after party. Do people go to SeatGeek? Do people go to how do people hope that they can get a ticket if it's sold out?
So when we do our Celebration events, we offer a thing called a hyperspace ticket, which is like if you're leaving for the night, our doorman will snip your bracelet and say, okay, 2 more people and a half price ticket to get into the door. At that point, you don't get a lot of the, the extras like swag bags or anything of that nature that were part of the massive ticket. This event, Now, what's different about this event and every other event that we've done is literally Rebel Scum Con hired us to run this event for them. So if you look at all of our graphics, it actually says Rebel Scum Con presents Boonta Eve, Texas. They're running the door. So 100% of the door and how that operates is the Revel and Rebel Scum Con. Virtual Cantina Network has no part of the door. We're just running everything that's going on in the building is on us. So if you can't get a ticket for Boonta, if the restaurant won't sell you a ticket, you are out, unfortunately, in this event. But don't sleep on this. I'm telling you right now, is this event in itself, we are already, like I said, we're planning for the next 3 years through Celebration. We already have our location set for 2017 in Los Angeles.
But he won't tell us. As much as I ask him, he won't tell us.
I will not say it, but I will say this, is that this event is going to set the tone for the next couple of years of things that you see what we do, because we had such a buzz from Japan that once we came back, things started rolling like crazy for us, and we got lineup events for the next 2 to 3 years. So come to our events, because you're going to see something that it's Star Wars fans hanging out with Star Wars fans and accepting you for whatever you like. And that's a rarity, honestly, in this fandom. But the fact of the matter is that come party with us, and then you're going to end up coming to party with us around the world. And I have to say this, and this is no joke, is that we have members who are literally flying into DFW, coming to Boonta, then Ubering back to DFW, not even going to con.
I don't think Kentucky wants to hear that.
He knows. They said,
I know he knows, but he doesn't want to freaking. That's what you tell the fucking world.
I'm saying that our
Spencer's
members,
lying. This isn't happening. What he just said is not. I'm just kidding.
But I want to know why the hell are they not going to the con? The con is great. They got a great lineup of people.
It's one person. He's a heart surgeon, and he can't leave more than 8 hours. That's who.
Honestly, from the people who have told me that they're doing that, they came down and said they couldn't afford away time for 3 days in a row, but they were able to finagle to get out for an evening. And flights to Dallas are not that expensive at this particular time. So
no, I got it. Well, you know what?
I bought my flight for $197, and that's from New York City. $197.
I got 211 from Logan. So
$180 for me. $180.
So the fact
you're the closest.
But still, it's. I mean, I love to say that it's a testament to what the community, the virtual Cantina community, is coming around. That people are willing to travel just for us, which is lovely.
It's a beautiful thing. That is a great thing. That's a great thing.
But overall, like I said, I could not be happier with this partnership that we've had with Rebel Scum this year. Everything is lining up. It's going to be an incredible weekend, and I'm excited for the show itself. And this is also a show. My wife doesn't go to shows at all. She detests them. This is their second show she's ever gone to. The first one was Nashville last year. So she wanted to go to this show. She doesn't want to do Celebration. Too much for her. But I think that these shows, like Rebel Scum, kind of like an ICC, it kind of reminds me, and Kevin and I can talk about this, very similar to what Ken does up here in New England of the hotel convention. I think that it's a similar idea, but what ICC and Rebel Scum have done is take it to a whole other level, but the core is similar to what Ken does with MegaCon. Very similar. And I honestly had a lot. I got a lot of comparisons.
I think both Mike's show and the Dallas show are much bigger than that. But I can see where it's like the basic recipe for it is there.
Like you have the core of what Super Mega Fest is like, and then you take it to another level, and that's the other two. But the thing is that the start is similar to what Ken does up here, and that's one of the things I liked going in last year to ICC after years of Kevin saying, you got to go to Nashville. You got to go to Nashville. Every time I saw him at a con, it felt comfortable to me going in first year because it reminded me of a show that happens up here every year. But
it reminded me, both that show and Rebel Scum Con remind me of what Celebration was like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't. I mean, still not as big as that because it was still a 30,000 person show, but now it's ridiculous. Now it's so enormous. It's just, I mean, I usually get a guest pass because I do different panels and stuff there. So I'm fortunate, but like all of my friends, I go to these panels and I can't go with them because they can't get in. And it's just because the lines are just enormous. They start the night before.
But the thing is that this is honestly, as I said, if you did not go to Japan, or if you went to Japan, you got that FOMO for a really good Star Wars show. This is the show to go to. Honestly, this is the show to go to this year in the United States. If you're a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, it really, really is. You know what? Okay, well, I'm going to send people to get the tickets one last time. Matthew, if I can get the graphic, there's a QR code on there for the booth Eve. And before I let you guys go, Kevin, I need to ask you. You do a lot of hosting on the main stage at ICC and at the at Rebel ScumCon. What panel are you? And I hate to put you in a situation where you're picking and choosing one or the other, but what panel? You can only choose one. Are you looking forward to most?
I would never choose one panel. Lauren Peterson. Absolutely, Lauren Peterson. I'm doing a panel with him and a few other people, and and they're great. And it's just all the panels are great. I'm gonna have a really good time. Hobby's there. Two fighters against a Star Destroyer. I'm gonna interview that guy.
That guy's
my old buddy Dennis Lawson's gonna be there. It's gonna be a great show, and it's gonna be a blast. Katie Sackhoff is there. We all hung out with her in Nashville a couple months ago, and now we're going to see her there. And then funny, I'm going to see her the following week in Colorado because I'm also hosting Star Wars panels at Colorado Springs the weekend after Rebel ScumCon. Of course, not nearly as big of a Star Wars event as Rebel ScumCon. But in answer to your question, Lauren Peterson would be it. That's going to be. I have a sketchbook that I add all my Star Wars. I'm doing right now. I'm doing Ula. So every time I get an actor, when I interview them, I get them to sign my book. And I did Lauren Peterson. See, there's Lauren Peterson.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Awesome. And look, there's Hobby. And what I do is I get them to sign it, and then it's signed by Ayla Sakura, Amy Allen herself.
That's awesome.
And you drew those by hand in the book.
Yeah, I'm an artist, Chris. You've known me for like 20 years. That's what I do for a living. Yeah, I drew the Jyn Erso behind me. See, I drew that. And look, hey Spencer, look, I got something from The Force Awakens. Look, I got Snoke.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been meaning to draw over that and put Kilo Roy, which is his other character from Andor, who I like a lot more. I think that's going to happen someday. But
you have looming over him. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Kevin, you're going to be there in Norse Legion. You have that the Blizzard of Hoth shirt. I want to know if I can get a little bit of a discount on that shirt. That's beautiful, and it came out.
I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up.
That album came out the same year as Empire Strikes Back, so I find it very, very fitting.
That was the point. And Bark at the Moon came out roughly near Return of the Jedi. I've always thought about doing Chewbacca as Bark at the Moon, but I think it's a little too campy. But Blizzard of Hoth is Spencer. We're talking about heavy metal, just so you know. We're just
yeah. I've listened to heavy metal before, but thank you very much. But Chris and I have waxed poetic about Yes and Rush, so we're progressive rock fans as well. So
yeah. I want to end on that note because this is a 1 hour show and we're already in a bonus time. But I got to tell you, early on, Yes opened up for Black Sabbath, and God bless Rick Wakeman. He became super good friends with Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy and Black Sabbath actually asked Rick Wakeman, who was the keyboard player from Yes, to join the band. He only played on Sabracadabra. God, if Rick would have just been a full-time member of Sabbath, especially with all those pianos and all those synthesizers that they used later on in the albums, it would have been a fucking really, really cool thing.
But Sabbath treated keyboardists like Spinal Tap had drummers. They were just coming in and out all the time. They never had. There was always a turnaround.
But Rick Wakeman would have been a fucking staple.
He was a character himself. Yeah, he's a character himself.
So absolutely. Hey, I want to thank Kevin Lau for joining the show. Check him out at NorseLegion.com for cool merch. He's going to be at the convention. Rebel Scum Con. We're all going to be there. Only complaint is that it's going to be hot as fuck down there.
Did you not go outside? I spent the whole time I did not go outside. I left the hotel, got an Uber, went to a cigar lounge, came back from the cigar lounge, went back in the hotel, and that was it. I didn't do anything else.
You shower after you came back because you're just soaked in sweat. Spencer, people can catch you not only at the booth to eat, but you are running the whole VCN network. What's the website that people can go to get the whole umbrella that you're part of?
So you can go to virtualcantinanetwork.com. That's a hub for everything we do. But our mothership is the Star Wars Celebration fan page, already set up for Los Angeles 2027. We are just shy of 99,000 members worldwide. So we actually gained 18,000 members from the moment we left Japan till today.
18,000 members. How come Machtails can't do that? I don't know.
Because you're not Spencer Yawitz. You got to be everywhere.
But seriously, we appreciate everybody being members of our group. Like I said, support all the shows out there. Support, all the podcasts, all the cons. But get ready, because honestly, we are gearing up towards the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. And by the time we get to Los Angeles with the museum opening up next year, LA is going to be hopping. It's going to be a good time. So
that's an understatement for sure. That is an understatement. So check out Norse Legion. Check out the Virtual Cantina Network. I'm your show host, Chris Mock. I want to thank my brother Ian Basic for joining the show too, sharing in my Ozzy voice, sharing some really, really cool Ozzy Osbourne stories. And we will catch you guys on the crazy train at Booth and Eve, where I'm going to sing the shit out of some Black Sabbath live with my brother, Kevin Lyle. We'll catch you guys next time on another episode of Mocktails from the Cantina. Thank you so much to Matthew Rooney behind the board. He did not join the show, but he was hard at work. And we will see you guys next time. Sunday, I got the guys from Rebel Scum Con joining the show. So we'll see you then for live show number 73. So long, everybody.